Alright, what is up everybody? Hope you're having a good old day. I hope y'all are ready for some practice, because we're gonna be doing a lot of practice, but we're gonna be doing a lot of runs. Like there are sometimes I'm probably gonna play a little bit riskier just to see if I can pull some stuff off, but overall it's like I need the practice. I don't necessarily need to make it the full 30 every single time. It's more so of getting the consistency down of being able to do the same general things between minutes 1 to 15. Like if I can get those core bases down, it's like so long as I can make it to that general halfway point, I'm gonna feel pretty confident overall. Anything past that's gonna be great. But yeah, let's go ahead and kill the music, because I know that's like, at least I personally think that the sound for Vampire Survivor very nice. Just in case, and I'll say this multiple times, the practice I'm going to be doing is going to be a fresh run every single time. It's like it's always going to be Antonio, because he's the only character ever unlocked off of a fresh save, and it's just surviving as long as possible. So no extra unlocks, no bonuses or anything like that. It's like unless you can pick it up during the first actual level, I was like, that's it. So this has been a challenge. I've been practicing it on and off ever since I found out I was going to be in the decathlon. So yeah. Starting off with the whip is interesting to say the least. It's like because you're very much so stuck with only going with one direction of damage, which really doesn't help, especially with it being a horizontal direction and not like a multiple direction type of deal. So just trying to get anything going can be a little tough, especially when you're waiting on the cooldown for your whip to go off, and if you play it a little too close, you take a little bit of damage, which isn't the biggest deal. Oh, perfect timing. Hey, crafty. Welcome in, Raiders. I can pretty consistently make it to about the 15 to 17 minute mark, give or take. Anything past that is kind of up to RNGesus for the most part. It's just trying to make sure I'm constantly getting to that point and setting myself up for success. I've been able to make it a full 30-minute run every like 3 times now. Now the reason why it ends at roughly 30 minutes is as soon as it hits 30 minutes, all the enemies despawn, and then an pretty much unkillable Reaper that moves so much faster than you shows up and essentially instantly kills you for the most part. So there's ways to extend your time past the 30 seconds, but it's yeah. Now, a handful of things that I have learned from my little bit of practice I've done already is, one thing that I like to do is by minute like 5 or 6, I want to say, it's like I want to be at least level 10 or pretty darn close. Also, one thing that I like to make sure to do is I think around like minute 3 or 4. It's like that's when like giant waves of bats just come flying through the screen super fast. It ends up damaging me a bit, but it's such a large amount of XP that comes in from it. You want to take the hits and just try and kill as many as possible, because the amount of XP you get is incredibly worth it. Another thing is knowing when to take the time to kill the special enemies so that they'll drop a chest, and knowing which enemies drop like what kind of chest. Because certain enemies will drop chests and you'll get the single reward like I just got right there. Other chests will give you 3 rewards, and then you can have certain chests that'll be especially special that will give you 5 rewards, which is really great. But yeah, because it's such a big cluster, you want to get all of those bats just so you can get the experience. It is worth taking the little bit of damage because it's not too hard to kill the bats. So just getting that like quick little bit of damage in there to get all that experience is very nice. And it helps me get to that point where I can make sure I'm about level 10 to 13. Now, obviously, I'm looking a little sad here because I need to find some floor chicken, which looks like we got some over here. Okay, now we're looking a little less sad. One thing that I always like to do to help pair with the whip to get some damage and some protection is definitely boosting up the knife ability, because you go through a lot of knives pretty quickly, especially the more you upgrade it. And it's a great way to clear things, especially once you get it leveled up more and it starts passing through enemies. RNGesus is also a well-known deity, been at least 10 years since I first heard of it. Exactly. So this is the second chest that you can find. And again, it's only a single chest. You don't find your first chest that drops more than one until, I want to say, about the 5-minute mark. And it's a giant praying mantis that you have to kill, which isn't horribly bad so long as you're set up well for it. But it's a matter of, making sure that you're set up well for it. Now, one thing you do want to try and keep in mind while you are playing this is to try and keep some kind of pathing so that you are, one, not in too much danger, and two, so you can kind of just keep looping around the same general area over and over again, so that way you can just keep running into the experience that was dropped from previous kills. So kind of hiding them around in a singular circle, big deal. Now, two of the things that I like to, well, actually 3 of the things that I like to focus on when building up my abilities is the whip, because that's your main thing that you start off with, and it's one of the few things that you can really build into on your very first run on a, but it's definitely hard to build into it. It's like, so if you can get that leveled up early on, it's like you're pretty well set. And then the knives, like I said earlier, is really good. It's a lot of damage, and with it shooting directly in front of you, so long as you pick one direction, you're pretty well set on destroying whatever's in front of you. Okay, so like you can see right here, we hit the 5-minute mark. We got all of these plants kind of trapping us in, which, might be a little scary to the first time player, which I know when I first played, and this happened, I was like, oh, well, this is dangerous. I'm in danger. But now that I've done this, enough times, really not that big of a deal. All right, so now this one, it's like triple loops. It's like this will give us a nice little bit of upgrades right here. We're at level 13, so we're already ahead of schedule at this point. So what I'll probably do here is I'll probably run around, pick up a little bit more.
And I love you, but you're all terrible.
There it is, Tuki. But yeah, so that's the first chest that you can get. That'll give you 3 upgrades, which is really helpful. But usually at around this point, as soon as I get this done, I'm usually heading up north for, a special little item that you can get. But because we're a little bit ahead of schedule, and I don't need to really start heading up in that direction until about the 6-minute mark, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't just load up on some extra XP that I already have laying around, pick up some floor chicken to make my walk up a little bit easier. I don't have to pick up every single thing. It'll just be helpful. Real quick. Ooh, actually, more luck. The nice thing about the luck pickups that you can occasionally find is it gives you a higher chance of getting multiple options for upgrades whenever you level up. So instead of the usual 3, you can get 4, giving you just, you know, a little bit more options. Okay, now we're back to full health. So now what we are doing is we're heading north. So whenever you're playing this, it's like where I'm going, it's always going to be in the exact same spot that I'm going to. It's like, so you head north, and so long as you don't have like any upgraded walking speeds or anything like that, it takes about 2 minutes. Now the only thing that really sucks about doing this is where you really fall behind on any experience that you may or may not get, because I'm usually just trying to focus. Wow, a third 4-leaf clover. That's kind of wild. I never see that many, but it's like, so it's like, this is why the knives are so good. So long as you keep walking in a straight line and essentially just nuking anything and everything that gets in your way. Ooh, okay. So that cross right there, it's a good item to pick up because it will destroy everything that's on the screen. But it's a double-edged sword, because as soon as you pick that up, literally all possible enemies. Okay, we're gonna top off the whip because that's gonna be a key thing, and I'll explain why here in a little bit after I get the item I'm after. But with it, with the cross picking up and destroying everything on screen, it immediately spawns all the enemies that, you know, would be coming afterwards, like completely around the outside. So if you're on like an extremely difficult wave and that happens, it's like, yeah, you get like a quick little breather, but it ends up like completely surrounding you, so you lose a chance to be able to like kind of bob and weave. It just completely fills the outside edge of the entire map, essentially, because all the enemies are essentially spawning just outside of the area. All right, so this right here, the Hollow Heart, very important and a very big key to the overall strategy here, because picking this up lets me upgrade the whip from a regular whip to its like special form. And this is the only thing that you can pick up on the entire map that will let you upgrade a weapon. And any other, like all the other weapons, they have like other items that they can kind of technically combine with to upgrade, but because it's a fresh save, you don't get that option whatsoever, because you need to get unlocks to kind of really mess around with everything else. But this Hollow Heart, it's always here, and it's the pairing for the whip, which is really nice. And once I get to the point where I can upgrade it, it's like, you will see why, and I'll make sure to read it out. Now, the actual like being able to upgrade a weapon, you need to first like completely max out its level, which I did a little bit earlier, which it's like as you play along, you can generally figure out what level like each weapon can get to. Most of the weapons usually go to about level 8, some go to like 7, some are a little bit less, kind of all depends. But luckily you only need to max out the weapon. You don't need to max out the partner item either. One thing to keep in mind, which is a good thing to know, is if you pick up a random item from the ground and not like unlock it through levels or anything like that, you have to, the only way you can level it up is through your level itself, because for whatever reason, if you get a chest, it will not pop up. So as much as I want to like go for the Hollow Heart and level it up because it needs to, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to upgrade it through the chests, for the next part that's going to be coming up, that's going to be pretty crucial to me leveling, the King Bible is going to be much more important. Now, one thing I will say is really kind of disappointing right now with this specific run is the fact that I am missing a pretty crucial part of the build that I like to do, which kind of puts me in a little bit of a pickle. Nothing, you know, major or groundbreaking, but it really doesn't help that I don't have the specific item that I'm currently looking for. Actually, I'm going to leave that there because that's going to be super useful later. Ooh, this is going to be useful right here. Now, the next chest that I'm going to be able to get coming up is going to be the first chest that I'm going to be able to upgrade the whip. And that's going to be one of the few, I think there's only one more chest that will be able to give you this many items, but the next chest that's going to be coming up is going to be the one one of the few chests that will give me a 5-item upgrade. And it's going to be this absolutely giant mantis to take care of. Now, it is possible to kill this pretty quickly, but you need to have the exact right setup, and because I don't have the one item, the laurel, where it gives me essentially a free hit, this becomes a rather dangerous situation, because now I can't... Okay, perfect. So now this will give us 5, and it'll have this whole grand fanfare here, which is a really fun and exciting thing to get, especially if it's like the first time you've ever seen it. Plus, this is another great way to get a lot of gold. All right, so 2 upgrades on the Bible, which is really great. So the Evolved Whip, it can deal critical damage and absorb HP, which that's one of the key things here. That's going to help keep us alive. And that keeping us alive is going to be a big deal. It's like, and that's going to be what helps us survive as long as humanly possible. Now, here in about 15 seconds, the entire screen is going to fill up with skeletons. Still no laurel, which is that's rough. It's not going to be a game breaker, but it's rough because having that extra little bit of protection is a big deal. But right here is going... Okay, perfect. We got the laurel. But as you can see, I'm kind of just absolutely decimating all of these skeletons. And it's a big thanks to the Bible, because it has that pretty wide area of effect. It's spinning around and it's just destroying a lot of the skeletons. But this is loading me up on just a crap ton of experience that I will end up picking up here with the item that I left up above a little bit earlier, because that's going to bring in all the experience straight to me. And we're going to jump from like level 20 to... Okay, yeah, we're going to... Because I need the laurel up as high as possible. But we're going to go from like level 20, 21, wherever we're at once the actual skeletons themselves stop, to like probably close to level 30. Just because of how many skeletons there are and just how much like overall damage we've been doing. Okay, so now we see the werewolves coming in. Is now time to force our way up to pick up the item, which is right here. And so we're level 22. Let's see how high we get. All right, again, laurel again. Pick up laurel. Now it has 2 charges. We're gonna go fire with 1 more projectile. Okay. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get higher than that. I figured we would have gotten more. But that's fine. But I think the knife's fully upgraded, the Bible's fully upgraded. Like the... let's see, can I? No, I can't. So, I think we're generally at the point where we have a good amount of stuff going for us. We have some decent protection. We have some life being able to come back to us at all times. Now it's a good time to just try and load up on as much experience as humanly possible, so that way we can be set up for success here. Like now, hopefully we can get a few more things under our belt, pick up a couple more items sooner rather than later. Now right here during this whole phase, I like to try and keep moving as much as possible. All right, I'm gonna actually pick up spinach just in case, so that way we have another item for chests to give us something. Because if you don't have anything to upgrade, if you pick up a chest, it will essentially just give you money, which is pretty useless to what we're trying to do during these runs. But during this part of the phase, I like to keep moving, because even though the big groups of ghosts would be good for experience, they end up pushing all the enemies that are like nearby you. And if, you know, they just like all group up together, that's a lot of damage happening at once. All right, and then we're also going to pick up the armor as well as a backup. So even though it could be a lot of experience to pick them up, it's like if they push an entire group at you and you don't have like the laurel to like essentially protect you, you can take a lot of damage really quick, and that could be a run ender. One thing you do want to keep an eye out for. Ooh, okay, let's get. So that should be it for the laurel. Increase my damage. One thing you do want to keep an eye out for is the red gems of experience that are on the ground, because those are giant collections of experience. And because I think it's something to do with the programming of the game itself, where like only like X amount of like experience can be shown at a time. So once you get to the point where like you have too much experience on the screen, it will spawn in a red one that essentially just collects all of the experience that you'll be dropping later. So there's going to be times where like if you have a giant group of enemies that you're just killing over and over again, and you eventually pick up the red experience gem, you can gain like several levels just from the one gem. All right, so I think the hollow heart only goes to level 3, which is really nice. So I don't have to worry too much about it. Oh, nope, it can go even higher. All right, you know, I'm gonna go with the Santa water, so that way I can just get another thing on the board. So just in case we get to the point where we're picking up more chests, we're not essentially wasting the value of the chest. Now, there is another item that could technically be useful on this run, but it's essentially on the exact opposite side of where we're at. So we'd have to head south, not only back to center point where you start off, but you'd have to go south even further. Again, about another 2 minutes or so of walking. But down there is a special item that you can pick up that is actually the pairing to the garlic that you can eventually get, which I think that unlocks after you pick up 5 floor chickens in total. I don't think you have to pick up 5 floor chickens in a single run to unlock it, but I think it's like just 5 floor chickens in total. Then you unlock the garlic weapon. But the heart that's like the south will get you will just passively gain you health over time. It's not a whole lot of health, so it's nothing crazy. Again, I'm honestly a little surprised at how much how much the Apollo heart gets upgraded, to be honest. So as you can see here, like minute 15 and minute 16, little wild, which is definitely a giant barrier to say the least. And for the longest time, it was a big thing that would end up getting me killed, to say the least. It's like, I've now gotten to the point where I can fairly consistently make it through. Ooh, wild Pokemon in chat. But just getting this far, in all honesty, it's rather impressive, especially just on a fresh run. Because you do not get a lot of options on just a fresh run. Now, sadly, even though beforehand the mantises would drop chests, it's like at this point in the game, it's like they're just regular mobs. Still just as dangerous, still just as powerful, but no more chests. Now, if you notice like an enemy that's like especially big, like is bigger, especially bigger than, you know, normal, like the giant werewolf that's right there, or the certain bats that were glowing blue, that's a sign that they're going to drop a chest. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Now, one thing I have noticed is if you don't get your whip upgrade from the giant mantis that drops the 5 chest, the next 2 chests that you can get directly after that, it's like I've had those become 3 chests, and I don't know if it's because of not getting the upgrade right then and there or what, but something to keep in mind. So like, again, that doing this right there, little dangerous. There was no need for me to go and do that. Okay, so I have had it where that white bat right there has been a single chest. Sometimes it's a 3 chest. I don't fully understand why, but you know, I'm not gonna complain. That's a good thing right there. So we keep going, and then the werewolf. Okay, werewolf. It's like I will say has been a pretty consistent 1 chest every single time. Now, I will say, for the most part, like, once you make it past, like, the 16-minute mark and you're, like, in the 17-minute mark, like, kind of where we are right now, everything's pretty slow moving. It's pretty easy to just kind of murder everything for the most part, especially if you have a good setup overall. And it's more about, you know, taking your time, making sure you're not taking stupid hits, trying to make sure you're hitting all of the like little fire lanterns around the area, see what upgrades, or I guess not upgrades, but what like little items you can pick up, what like floor chicken you can get thrown on the ground to help, you know, in a pinch if you get trapped somewhere. Ooh, okay, white, again, I've had this white bat only give me 1. It's giving me 3 for some reason. I'm not gonna complain. Like, I don't know if there's something special going on, or if it's because of what items I already have unlocked, or what, but I'm cool with it. One thing that I have been told is, like, trying to keep a good loop in, like, in around this one area that I'll show you down here in a second, is apparently a good strategy, because doing a nice loop around will help spawn in more of the lanterns. And one of the main things that we're going to be looking for when it comes to the lanterns is a time stop drop, because that will be a big help, especially once we get to the point where we have to deal with the Reaper. Because if we can stay in a consistent spot and make it to the full 30 minutes where the Reaper ends up spawning in, and have one of those around, we can extend our time past the 30 minutes. So even if somebody else does happen to make it to the 30-minute mark, if we can pull that off, it'll give us an extra edge where we can have even more time than what would be normally expected. Now, you can kill the Reaper and get unlock him as a character, more or less, but that's incredibly, like, late game. You need some extra BS to actually be able to pull that off. You know what? We're gonna take the damage. Hey, Reaper, morning. It's okay, Reaper. We're not murdering you. It's a different Reaper. It's a bad Reaper. So right here with all of these waves of bats coming in. Again, rather dangerous. I want to try and keep moving. At this exact point, there's not much of a need to... Ooh, we got lucky that there's all those floor chickens there. We don't want all of these enemies getting pushed into us, because that's just gonna completely decimate our health. And the whip with the life steal is only gonna do us so much good. And the laurel itself can only block so much damage. So if we can make it past this, ooh, this is a good drop right here. Okay, so the fire breath, it's like just does a crap ton of damage to whatever direction you're essentially going. This is going to save us a little bit of trouble. Not a whole lot though, only a little bit. All right, let's see if we can... All right, so luckily at this point, everything's moving rather slowly. We're probably pretty good until at least the 25-minute mark. I think the 25-minute mark, things start getting a little bit crazy again. All right, as much as I would probably like to say this, I want to actually try and get some more experience going, see if I can get another drop from Big Mummy Man over here. Okay, perfect. It's like, in all honesty, if I get a full 30-minute run off my first run streaming, I'm gonna be impressed. It's like I'm feeling good about this run. I'm feeling fairly confident. It's like, and I think I'm actually just about at that point where there's nothing else more that I can really do. Like, I'm level 39 right now. Leveling up isn't really gonna do me any good. I'm trying to remember if once you run out of unlocks, if you start leveling, you get the option for money or essentially a free floor chicken. Are you blocking the viewing of weapons until sub counter? Oh no. To be honest, that's just generally where I had it. So actually, thank you for pointing that out. I will. No, I want to be people to be. You know, we'll throw it. We'll throw it right. Throw it there. We'll make it a little bit smaller because it's really not that big of a deal. And then we'll throw the little add timer. Make that a little bit smaller. Like, again, it's like I'm gonna have to look at your name every single time. It's like, thanks for the call out, Brenzen. I honestly wasn't even thinking about that. Just in case anybody is wondering, obviously starting off with the whip itself, but I always like to go with the knife. The knife does a lot of damage, and with it being a very directional based move, it's like if you're trying to move in one direction, it really helps out with clearing the way to help, you know, clear a path, make it safer for you to maneuver around. I like the magic wand because it automatically shoots at whatever enemy should be closest, and it has the ability to pass through. Lord is practicing because of the stream decathlon. Yeah, so I've actually been practicing this on and off ever since I found out that I was going to be a part of the Vampire Survivor part. It's like I'm going in blind. I mean, I don't. It's a fun time, Reaper. It is a fun time. If you've never actually played Vampire Survivor, it's like if you don't get addicted by the end of it, it's like I'd be surprised. But it's like last place is this shirt. It's like, in all honesty, Reaper, it's like, I don't know about that, because I heard a lot of the other teams, there aren't many people that have played Vampire Survivor before, so maybe with a little bit of RNGesus on your side, it's like maybe second to last place. Maybe second to last place. But let's see. The Bible for kind of just a little bit of a crowd control, kind of help keep enemies around me bumped off. Getting the upgrade for the whip is really big, so that way you can get some health steal, so that way, you know, you have a little bit of a chance to survive. Definitely pick up the Laurel because it's like at fully upgraded you get essentially 3 free hits, so you can survive running through a group of enemies, which is really helpful. And then I like the Santa water, which puts the little pools of everything, which, oh yeah, you're just looking at the capture, you're not actually like looking at this at the window itself, but the little pools of like sparkly blue glow, which is really helpful. And then after that is like you really only get the spinach and the armor. Those are only like passive options that you can really get. Well, we might have some sleepers in there. It's true, you might. But I have done this run a good several times now, and I have this pretty well down to a science. It's just how much RNGesus wants to cooperate with me after a certain point. Which that's the only problem with this whole thing is, it's like after a certain point it is all up to RNGesus and like how kind he wants to be. So pretty much at this exact point, it's probably more about, at least for me, making sure that I'm like making good pathing decisions and kind of just picking a direction and sticking with it for the most part, just so I can get away from large groups of enemies to be able to escape from. Now, with the whip being a major part of the build itself, essentially going left to right is going to be the safer of the bets. There are many phases to this game. Weapons typically grabbed in early runs are the best, eventually become too weak and you need to choose other weapons, but at Reaper's Pass, this game is pure dopamine once you have invested a few hours of understanding it. True. So, the main reason why I first picked this up, because I definitely picked this up rather late in comparison to like when it first came out, was my one friend was like, yeah, no, it's a real fun, and like once you like play it like for a couple hours, you essentially find ways to be able to like break the game, which is, you know, it's always fun to be able to break a game. Okay, so the Santa water probably just finished its upgrade. But the fact that there's like so many different levels and like just so many different unlocks, it's absolutely insane. Now the little arrow in like the bottom right hand corner, it's pointing me towards a chest. Now at this point, there's no point in me getting a chest. All it's gonna do is offer me money, and your boy don't need the money. Your boy needs to survive. Alright, so we're gonna push through that grouping. Like hopefully survive long enough to make it through. Nope. So now this is where things are starting to get a little bit dangerous. It's like, and honestly, I should be taking my time, focusing more on my pathing than anything else. Bible's really saving me there. Okay, floor chicken? Nope, no floor chicken. Still no floor chicken. Alright, that stopped. Floor chicken, that's good, that's good. Feeling less scared about life. Floor chicken. Again, not at this exact point. I'm just trying to Uzi forward, let my abilities take care of themselves. Okay, I'm not even going to try and get that chest. Again, it should only be money that's going to end up picking up, and that's not going to do me any actual good. Alright, 26 minutes. Very, Very good start off of a fresh save for first run. If I can hold on to this kind of momentum, I'm going to be pretty happy. Wild Pokemon in chat. It's like, you see, I get that, but there's so many games. That's very true. There's too many games. There's way too many games out there. Like, I have a laundry list of games that either A, I'm kind of already playing through, or I want to play through.
And I love you, but you're all terrible.
Has it really been a half hour already? Thank you, Tukey. Thank you.
A few moments later.
I was like... I think you're good. Oh, damn. Sorry, you guys have been missing the chaos. I completely forgot that I had the whole bean. Well, we only have to survive about 30 more seconds for a full run. Come on, give me... No, don't give me money. Give me something that's going to help extend the time. Nope. Money. More money. Alright, 15 more seconds for a full run. Four chicken, not bad. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full run, and then run away. Yeah, instantly kills. Just instantly kills, but full run. It's like, oh, I remember seeing Crown's Word. It's on my wish list. Haven't looked into it much other than it's a Metroidvania and it looks nice. Scream by the way. GG's, appreciate it. But yeah, so already feeling pretty good. And then overall stats here. I was like, I can't imagine that this is going to be a big overall determiner. I think it's all going to be about time survived at the end of the day. But as you can see, I maxed out all of the items that you can get, which was really helpful. The little items that can drop from the lanterns. I was like, I wanted to get that second one. That's the time stop. If I had one of those, I would have been able to like make a mad dash away from the Reaper and get that 3 minutes and 2 seconds well up above. The irony to my post, yeah, he just got the lightning ring. It's like, sorry, I'm talking to like 3 different people. That's all good. It's like, okay, I'm here. What I missed? Well, we made it a full run. So we hit that 30-minute mark. The Reaper showed up and it just murked us instantly. But that's a full run. It's like no one's going to be able to make it past a full run. It's like at best, if you can chain a couple of the time stops together, you can probably get up to like 31, 32 minutes if you're lucky, but yeah. 21 unlocks, holy shit. Yeah. So was this like a run from the very beginning? Yes. Completely fresh save, 0 unlocks whatsoever.